my presentation of the people who were important to this country and the people who were important to me for Black history. Today we're going to learn about Andrew Jackson and the other presidents. Jackson was catapulted to the national frame by his victory at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815, and Jackson led the presidency and returned to Tennessee in 1837, where he continued to exert the powerful influence on national affairs until his death in 1845. Good morning. This is part of my presentation. My name is Marlee Wade, and this is part of my presentation. I'm going to tell you a little about Andrew Jackson. He was the president of our country. The founding of Memphis. In 1818, Andrew Jackson and Isaac Shelby, commissioners for Tennessee and Kentucky, respectfully succeeded in negotiating the purchase of the northern lands of Chickasaws. This was known as the Chickasaw Cession or Jackson Purchase with Indians. We're still learning about Andrew Jackson, and we're learning about his history when he was alive. And right here we have pictures of things he used. We're going to start on Andrew Jackson's writing kit. Here's the picture of it, and I'm going to read it. Andrew Jackson's writing kit, used during the war against the Creek Indians in 1813 and 1814. Andrew Jackson's leather wallet. Certificate presented to President Jackson by the Tammy Club of New York City. We're going to stop right here. President Jackson receives a group of petitioners. The attempted assassination of President Jackson in 1835. Now we're going to teach a little about James Knox book by G.P.A. Healy. And I'm going to read this first paragraph, and we're going to get to see his picture over here. State of Tennessee, Rutherford County. To any regular minister of the gospel having the care of souls or any justice of the peace for said country, greeting. James K. Polk, Tennessee Governor, 1836 to 1841. U.S. President, 1845 to 1849. We're going to talk about these two presidents and this slave. This slave has been beaten. You can see by the marks on his back. And this president is Abraham Lincoln. He did not want slavery. This president, Jefferson Davis, he wanted slavery. He was a Confederate, and he wanted slavery. We're going to talk about Taylor. He was a drum boy in the 7th Regiment USCT Ice-Colored Infantry. Date CA 1863. tribulation.
So Marlee, what did he actually do? He just did what? Played the what?
Drums.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. This is abolitionist John Brown, and he fought underground for slaves so they wouldn't have to live like this. I'm going to read this paragraph until this period. In 1857, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Dred Scott remained a slave even when moved to free territories, and that free or enslaved blacks could never become American citizens. Abolitionist John Brown believed the nation needed a new constitution, so he wrote the provisional constitution. It outlawed slavery and gave the vote to all people. And this is John Brown. This is the flag that the Confederates used to keep on letting slavery go on. And they wanted slavery like Jefferson Thomas, I told you before. Jefferson Davis, I told you before. We saw his picture. This is my grandmother, and she's going to help me read today. She's going to teach us about history with me and our history. This right here is Jefferson Davis. He was a Confederate.
William Sherman. He was not a Confederate. He was a hard fighter for President Lincoln against the slaves. This man was Ulysses Grant. Over here, Robert E. Lee. He was a Southern fighter, but he had to give up because Sherman is the one who forced him out, and they lost thousands of men here in Murfreesboro because of Robert E. Lee. This man right here was James Longstreet. He was Abraham Lincoln's front man. He gave all the orders to tell them what to do. After he had surrendered, then the war was over. And this is the man who originally brought it all together. But this man, William Sherman, he didn't give up.
He never did.
No.
Okay. This is, what is this? A POW or slave?
What does POW stand for?
Prisoner of war.
A prisoner of war. A POW stands for a prisoner of war. An African-American soldier guards a battery of 12 light-pounders at a City Point, Virginia, 1863 to 1865.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the picture.
Well,
what did the Confederates want, the people that wanted slavery?
The Confederates want that the soldiers, Confederate leaders wanted black Union soldiers treated as rebellion slaves. Okay, this document freed the slaves.
What is it called?
March, April, May, June, the Proclamation.
And who signed it?
Abraham Lincoln.
What year?
1863.
And what year? Let's look. And what year?
1860.
What year were the slaves actually freed?
1866. It's 1865.